What is going on, everybody? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com. You're listening to a little Okkervil River, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. How do you pronounce their name? I don't know, but it's one of my favorite new records of recent times. And you're listening to it on the brand new Glyde from Samsung and Verizon Wireless. It's the new VCast phone. It's got a touchscreen, and it's also got... Let's pause the music there so you can hear me. It's got a touchscreen, and it's also got a slide-out QWERTY keypad. Is it the best of both worlds? You get the touch, you get the keypad, and it's also remarkably small. This phone is much smaller than the Voyager, a little bit smaller than the NV2, and it's got the touch screen. We've had it for a little while now, put it through its paces, calling, texting, VCast, all that stuff. How is it? Well, let's get in depth. Let's check it out. Alright, so the Glyde is the Verizon version of the Samsung F700, which has been out in Europe for a while now. But the thing about the Glyde is that Samsung and Verizon actually took the F700, same form factor and everything, but shrunk it down. So instead of being a phone that's kind of more, Voyager size, more the size of a smartphone, what you have is a pretty standard size phone. I'm showing it here next to the Venus. And you can see, it's kind of roughly the same size as the Venus, maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker. And then when it's slid out, obviously it's a different form factor. But, you can see size comparison, pretty comparable. And then also here with the NV2, again, kind of the same size. I think the Glyde is actually just a little bit smaller than the NV2. So it's pretty interesting that instead of making a full-on, large handset, they crammed a lot into this little form factor. And I think they did a pretty good job. There is a touchscreen on the front, and as you can see, it auto-rotates when you go from the phone closed to gliding the keyboard open, as the name says. And they loaded it up with a couple of kind of gimmicky but kind of fun interactive wallpapers. So there's this Rubik's Cube thing that you can flick the cube around and everything. This one was a little bit kind of funny. I still haven't quite gotten the hang of it. But, to show off the touchscreen, there's also one where you can make your own constellations with stars. I'll show you that in a minute. It's pretty cool. And then you can access basically everything from the front. So up top here, you've got your dial pad menu. And so you can make your phone calls, from the front screen. There's one button on the front. It's an actual hardware button. It's the home key, so you can always go back to the home. You can go to the main menu, or you can, and then there's a contact shortcut, or you can use this blinking, this pulsing blue box here to go to your shortcut menu, which is customizable. So it's got a set button down here on the bottom, and you hit set, and the screen changes. You can see it says tap to replace. So I'm going to get rid of DJ Baseball here, or whatever that's called, and I'm going to replace it with something else. So you can scroll through and you can pick them at the bottom of the list. I'm going to change it with My Videos. And so now it's replaced it, and there you go, My Videos. So you've got a grid here of 12 shortcuts. You can make them whatever you want, and you can always get to them from the home screen via that pulsing blue box there. And again, when you change it to the widescreen mode with the keyboard out, your blue box is still there. You can also use this menu down at the bottom. This is an alert shortcut menu. And so what this does is it lets you know what's going on. So my speakerphone's off. I just hit the camera, sorry. Speakerphone's off. I don't have any messages. Looks like I do have a missed call. So I can hit that button, and I'll go to my alerts menu, and it'll give me the status of everything. And sure enough, I've got a missed call. You can tell, you're getting a sense of, when I'm playing with this, the touchscreen is pretty good. When it came, it was set at the medium sensitivity, and I actually had to go in and change the sensitivity. I believe it's on its highest setting. Yeah, it's on its highest setting. And that seems to work best for me. Generally, it's really good. It's got vibration you can set on it. So every time you touch, it confirms your touch with vibration. They call it haptic feedback. And in general, the touchscreen works well. I have a little bit of trouble sometimes pressing buttons that are right on the edge of the screen. So on the bottom here, or if I'm in the other mode, on the bottom here. Sometimes, you know, it'll be a little bit funny a little bit quirky, but I've gotten the hang of it and it's pretty good. And the scrolling works pretty well. You know, you can just kind of like flick, and when you press, you get that vibration to let you know that it's engaged, and then you can flick up and down, you know, your list. The inevitable comparison is with iPhone. Is it as good as iPhone's touchscreen? No. Is it as good as any other touchscreen I've tried besides iPhone? It's right up there, definitely. You don't need a stylus. It doesn't come with a stylus. You know, you just use your fingers, use your thumbs, and it works pretty well, and you can adjust the sensitivity, which is nice, and the vibration's nice. You know, they did a really pretty good job with this. Okay, actually we're going to go back to the messaging so I can show you the QWERTY keyboard there. Obviously it's pretty straightforward. You go to make a new text messaging, you can go from your contacts, or you know, you can enter a phone number. So I'll send a message to myself. It's not my phone number, by the way, it's a test phone, so you can't reach me on it, sorry. And you know, the keyboard is pretty small, but it actually works pretty well. I was a little nervous, you know, when I first got it and saw how small the keys are, but they're pretty good. They're well laid out, they have a good feel. The space bar is a little bit bigger than the other keys, which is kind of nice. And unlock it. And, you know, the quick brown fox. Do they even teach this in school anymore? This was always what they told you to, you know, the first thing you type, because it has all the letters of the alphabet in the sentence. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy sheepdog. Terrific. And then you've got your function key that will let you get to your symbols here in yellow. So you hit function, the function lock comes on, see it goes back and forth, and I'll get my exclamation point. Wonderful. All right, there's no D-pad, but instead the 4 keys down here in the right corner double as directional keys when the function's on. So you can see I can scroll back, I can go, you know, up, everything. I went too far and it went back to the other menu. And then what's actually nice about the small form factor here is that it's really easy to go from the keypad to just go right up to your touchscreen and just get rid of it. And you can scroll through, you can, you know, there are a lot of different customization settings. Pretty nice. I'm not going to save that. Let's go back to homepage.
Alright, so that's all for part 1 of our review of the Samsung Glyde for Verizon. We're going to split this review into 2 parts so the video doesn't get any longer than it already is. If you're interested in the multimedia capabilities of the phone, the VCast audio and video, the camera, the GPS, VZ Navigator, the web browsing, all that kind of stuff, definitely check out part 2. If you just want the quick wrap-up, here it is. All in all, I like the Glyde as a VCast messaging phone. The touchscreen works pretty well. It's not perfect, and especially with the web browser, I had some issues with it. You can see that in part 2 of the video. But in general, I think it's a good phone. I really like that they put a flash on the camera with autofocus, makes it more useful. And I really like the small form factor. At first, I was kind of surprised by it, but I think what you've got now is you've got a range of devices on Verizon. If you're into messaging and you want a QWERTY, you can get the Voyager, which is bigger, but it does, you know, everything. You can get the NV2, which is less expensive and still pretty compact, or now you can get the Glyde, which offers you the touchscreen and some of the fun, interactive stuff, but it's also small, smaller than Voyager, a little less expensive than Voyager, and it's got this little QWERTY that, you know, even though it's so tiny, me at least, it worked really well, and it's nice that when you're done, you know, it feels much more like a phone. It's a little thick, but, you know, size-wise, it's just like a regular phone, which is really pretty cool. It's nice to have options. All right? So check out part 2 of the video. Check out much more over on PhoneDog.com. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Noah. We'll see you later.